In this episode of Interviews on the Road, I get interviewed. Do you remember Kirk and Clayton of Impact Overland? If not, go watch the interviews we did with them. I'll put the link below. Anyway, after we interviewed them, Kirk had some questions for me. So here's the footage from this spur-of-the-moment interview. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, so I started watching Dirt Sunrise after I met you guys, and was stoked to see somebody like making, wasn't this enormous production that like, whatever they're called, Expedition Overland is doing, and it was like more authentic and showing cool, behind the scenes and all the trails you guys are doing, which most of them are way gnarlier than I do. But like, did you start the YouTube channel for like your own personal journal, or did you want it to like share with others, or what made you want to do this, just to have a project on the road? Like, why?
Yeah, it's interesting because it has been really good to have a project on the road, realizing that, like, something that you have to do, and it helps you grow that creativity, which I didn't think about when I first started. But I think, like, the idea was that our families didn't understand what we were doing, or why we were passionate about this and thought we were crazy, and like, why would you want to travel to these countries? So being able to show them kind of the why we enjoy this was, I think, the main driver. But I also had the idea of like, let's share it. I don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. Like, let's just see what happens. And I also had worked for a magazine before, so I knew that I didn't want making something to get in the way of enjoying something, because we were doing this trip whether or not we were doing a YouTube channel or like making any money doing anything like that. But I wanted the focus to be us enjoying the trip and not have it be about making something, which is always a conflict, because when you do something tough and you want to show like, oh, that was so cool, that was crazy, but because you're in the moment and you don't have a film crew and you don't want to go back through the crazy thing that you just did, or it's like emotionally hard or whatever, you don't get that, like, that part of it. You might be able to tell after the fact, but totally. Like, so it's always a conflict that way for us.
How do you feel now going into it? Do you feel that this side of it, the YouTube, takes up more time than you thought? Has this become, what percentage would you say goes into making these videos every time versus just enjoying the trip? Is it a 50-50 split? You said you spend an hour every morning editing. Like,
yeah,
that's dedication.
It's a hard balance, but it is something that I personally like. So it's a challenge, and sometimes, you wake up and you're like, ugh, I don't want to do this. But then once you're into it, I do enjoy doing it, and the time goes by. It's like one of those things you sit down and you like realize it's been 4 hours. Like, whoa, I've been doing this for that long. So I enjoy it. It does take up a lot more time than I thought it would, I think. But it's not the main focus of the trip, so it's just an additional thing. Like, we'll pick up the camera when we feel like we want to say something to the camera, or this view is amazing and I want to share it, but there's so many times that we just sit there and enjoy it ourselves, and that's what it's about, and we just additionally get to share what we want to share.
Do you think also editing and doing some of this stuff forces you to slow down more than maybe you would have otherwise? You're like, all right, I need an extra day or two here to do this.
Yeah.
And while you're editing, Tim can be doing other things, and it forces you to just like, okay, at first we were like, oh, we got to get going, and then, now we spend a couple of days and you're like, you know what, that was actually, that was
totally
good.
I mean, like yesterday, that's what it would have been. We probably would have been like, cool, it's cool hanging out with you guys, we're going to go get groceries and we're going to leave. And like, there would have been no, like, it would be good to probably sit here, and I wouldn't have sat in a coffee shop for, 6 hours, right, because I wouldn't have had a reason to. But in the end, it does slow us down a bit, which is always what we struggle with, is slowing down more. So
we talked about it a second ago, but I'm going to go back to, tell me how it was getting into video for the first time. How did you transition from, because you worked for Overland Journal, and so you were in the print media, and then you just, how did you just bought a camera and said, I'm gonna figure this out? Like, you use Final Cut or
Final Cut, yeah.
Okay, like, it's not that it's okay to learn how to do a basic edit, but to get pretty good at it, like, there's a learning curve there of learning all the tools and being efficient and the keyframes and all that sort of stuff. How was that, and how did you teach yourself? Did you just go for it.
Yeah, when we first started, we like recorded how we built the truck, and so I had some time when we were still like internet is available, so you look up something and go like, how the heck do I do this, or what button did I push, and now nothing works, and like so I had enough internet that I could figure that out, and so I had a couple of, I don't know, like a month or something to kind of like get that under my belt before we left. But like we were talking about, internet is amazing, and like on the road you don't have it often, so whenever I have like a problem that I can't figure out, I'll make my list of like things to Google, and that's like, how do I do this, or I've seen this in other videos and I know it's possible but I have no idea how to do it. And so when I have internet, then I'll like learn all of these things, and so it's just been like a stacking process of like, that transition would be cool to figure out how to do, or like, any little thing, and then you learn that, and then now it's in your toolkit,
Right,
to be able to use it. So,
On average, how much time a day do you think you spend working on creating this channel? I mean, I know it varies. Some days you don't shoot at all. Some days you know. But for like, let's say one of your typical episodes, if you had to pick a ballpark number of how much between shooting and editing go into creating that that one little snippet, because I was blown away, for a minute of usable footage. Sometimes for clients when I was doing video stuff, you have literally 30 hours or something that goes into this, and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because it takes a long time to edit, but then the like filming and all of that stuff, because I don't think of that as like part of it necessarily, because you're just doing it as you go. It's not like we usually stop and like do something and set it up. But for a 15-minute video, it probably takes me like 20 hours or something, probably.
Exactly.
That or more, depending on how intense it is to edit, because I don't plan the stories. Like, I'm not like, okay, well this video is going to be, we need to get this shot and this shot and this shot, and this is going to be the story that we tell. So I end up looking at all the footage and going like, what is the story here? How am I going to put this all together? I need to do voiceovers because I didn't talk to the camera enough, or didn't explain what this was, or so like you're sitting there building the story from just the random footage that we have. So
it's like going through a refrigerator and being like, all right, what can I piece
exactly,
together
yeah,
for
it's like a
dinner tonight?
recipe, like what are we going to have?
How am I going to make this into something delicious?
Yeah.
Interesting. Trying to think of any other questions people would. You have anything? Who were your inspirations? Who do you guys can watch or recommend? Are there some stories that moved you? What was your inspiration even to start this trip? Honestly, the same questions you asked me.
Yeah.
I
think.
Oh, we got some questions for you. Oh.
Yeah. Let me look at your list real quick.
Darn.
I think for me, it was like watching, honestly, sailing channels, which is weird because we're not in that world, but I think because we're it's not our like base of knowledge, so it's more like dreamlike, where you're like, oh, that just seems so easy, and you don't look at it and go, oh, they had to do this, and that to get there and do that, and they did this wrong, and and so it wasn't like you're analyzing anything, you're just looking at it and going like, wow, what an adventure, like they seem happy, and that's crazy, they just did that. And so you are invested in these people that have broken from the norm, and then you start to find that they're relatable enough that you go, maybe that is like doable, maybe that's something. So for me it was like sailing channels that on YouTube, honestly, that we would watch that. And then we have a good base of friends because of Overland Expo, and getting to meet people like you and all the Camel Trophy guys, and you hear their stories and you go, these are real people that we like hang out with and know. And so I think all of those avenues, and then working for Overland Journal, meeting all of these travelers in the early days and kind of getting to see that other lifestyle is real.
Why the Pan Am? Why all the way down here, or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed kind of a natural place to go. I mean, we hadn't done a big trip like this, so it's sort of safe, I guess, in a way, because at least, in the first part you can kind of be like, okay, we're going back home. This isn't what we wanted, or it's not working out, or whatever. And so I think it was kind of safe. I've always loved Spanish, which is a weird thing to say, but like it seemed like a really cool idea. I've always wanted to like live in Spain or do something where you're like immersed in this language, and so to me that was really attractive as well. So I don't know, I don't know why we did it actually, why we picked here over other places. I guess it was easier, it was more
like
more doable.
You didn't have a huge expense right from the get-go.
Yeah, shipping somewhere. Yeah.
How did it feel pulling out the first day that you? I know it's been a while now.
Yeah.
So this is a long ways away, but I know for me, I kind of hit this wall of like the 10% of packing and getting ready. I'm like, I'm just over this. Just like, let's fucking get on the road already. Yeah. I'm so ready to go. So when I'm actually peeling out, I don't know if I feel relief or I'm just kind of like annoyed and just ready to like, come on already, let's do this.
Yeah.
Was it that way, or did you get like 30 miles away and then turn around and like, uh-oh, you forgot something?
No, I think, there's so much time preparing, and then you're kind of in that crunch time of like, okay, now we need to be going. I think we literally like cut up our mattress because we couldn't get rid of it and it wouldn't fit in the storage unit. So we like cut it up so that we could throw it in dumpsters, and we like drove around throwing it in different dumpsters. So that was like, get rid of it, we're done, we're going, I'm tired of all this work. But then it just felt surreal. Like it didn't hit me, I don't think, as we were leaving, like this is like a change in life, you know. It was kind of just like, because we had left so many times on trips in that truck that you were just like, oh, it just feels like we're going camping. Like I know it's bigger, but it didn't like hit me that it was like, you know, right. I don't know.
And then how about now that you're going back, where are you at mentally? You know, it takes a while to transition into this lifestyle, and the little bit that I've been with you guys, a lot of it's been about, you know, figuring out your life once you get back, you know. Where was this question going? Like how? I lost my train.
I like that you do that, because I'll be answering a question and I'll like what? I don't even remember the question. Where was I going with this?
But like what?
How to just the mindset about heading home. Or like this is home.
I was just trying to contrast the like you're leaving to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going back. You know, what do you have? What are your main focuses going back, to get back on the open road and do this again? Or, you know, are you excited to kind of have a home base for a little while? You know, you're not even going to have a home. Well, kind of.
Yeah. I think home doesn't feel like home anymore. Like being on the road feels more like home, which is weird to say because it does and doesn't feel like home because you're always moving. But home isn't a place that I'm excited to go back to. I'm excited to see the people that are at home, but it's not like that's my home, that's where I'm gonna stay. So it feels more natural. Like we even talk about, I don't think I want a home. I don't want that tiny down. I think like an RV or something that has more room so it can be more, you know, you can do more stuff inside and like have something that feels more like a home, but I don't want it to be stationary. I think I get like stir crazy being in one place too long. And so like having an RV or like something that's mobile, I think is, at least right now, what I would picture long term looking like, not going home and having a home. That doesn't sound attractive.
You miss family, you grew up riding horses and stuff, so you miss things like that you can have by having one house, maybe a garden or whatever.
Yeah.
But
you can bring
a
white
say home is where you park.
Just set it outside.
Set it out right in front.
We're going to get a mini pony and you'll see us in a van and a mini pony will get out.
We'll have a dog and a mini pony,
I'm going to go ride.
Nice. Cool.
Thank you for sitting down with us today.
You're welcome. If you'd like any autographs, no.